Today, this is fascinating to me. We're talking about autographs. Not the kind necessarily on checks, and yet
we have
autographs and checks
do sell.
Do sell. They should sell for a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
They can sell for a lot more than the check was.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, there were people that during the time that the Lindbergh kidnapping had occurred would send Bruno Hauptmann checks for $1. And then after he endorsed to sign them, they would in turn around and sell the checks at that time for $10. And now those checks are probably worth about between $1,000 and $1,500 a piece.
Now, Bruno Hauptmann, the infamous, and that's worth maybe $1,500, you say?
Around that, yeah.
What would a check from by Lindbergh be worth?
A Lindbergh check would probably, Lindbergh was very reclusive, and if you had it, that would be considered a document. His would be one of the few that would actually break the pattern where the infamous outweighed the famous. His would probably be worth about $2,000 for the check. Lindbergh is a little more, revered, I guess, by the autograph collectors, But in a reverse case, a Booth, John Wilkes Booth, would be worth almost 5 times as much as a Lincoln signature. So, conversely, it depends. The same with Oswald, would be worth a lot more than, John Kennedy. It usually works in the opposite way. I think Lindbergh is one of the rare exceptions.
Do you think maybe that's because there are fewer Oswald signatures?
Oh, without a doubt. Everything, price is relevant. Usually, yeah, not just to the amount of items, but to the demand for them. Lincoln signed quite a few items. I mean, he was a lawyer for quite some time. He was a politician for quite some time. So there are a lot of items. I mean, it's not like today where you have fax machines and, he had to write everything, all the pardons, everything by hand. So there's a lot of material around. But his transcends autograph collecting. People that would normally not collect autographs would collect a Lincoln document as investment or keepsake or whatever. Universities invest in them, libraries do, that type of thing. So that is one of those examples that kind of transcends it. Same with Washington.
Sure, where they're really buying the document. That's
exactly.
Consequently, the value is predicated on the importance.
Exactly. It has to do with what's considered a public market and a private market. There is a vast difference. There's autographs that are available to the public, and there's autographs that are not. And
well, tell me, which ones would not be?
Well, let's say something that would be in the Morgan Library in New York, which has one of the biggest autograph collections in the world. I believe he has a number of the original Gutenberg Bibles. And that's just not going to the market. It's in the museum. It'll stay in the museum. Or the letters in the Library of Congress, who possess a good many presidential, entire libraries of presidential records, or Oppenheimer's letters, for an example. All those letters, after he passed away, would go to them. Another good example would be Einstein's letters. They all went to Princeton. There were 2 warehouses full of his letters, and still today they're still trying to sort through them on what is historically important.
So if anybody had one of those signatures, would it be worth a lot of money?
Oh, sure. If you could get it from that grouping, it's not likely that you'll get it from a secured area like that. It's more likely that you would get it through other means. I mean, it's not like Einstein left everything. It's everything that he possessed, but other people that he wrote to would say
friends or relatives or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. I understand in a recent auction catalog that Rocky Marciano's relatives have, consigned items to auctions like promissory notes and things that he had signed to see what they would sell for, his date book, that type of thing.
We're talking with Al Wittnebert. Al Wittnebert is Wittnebert is the treasurer of the Universal Autograph Collectors Club, and the club is going to have a show. I'm going to go there. It's February 24th, Sunday, between 9 o'clock and 5 in the afternoon at the Grand Palms Golf and Country Club.
Correct.
Right in the corner of I-75.
And Pines Boulevard.
Pines Boulevard. It costs you $2 down in Pembroke Pines. Kids are free. How did you get involved in this? Is it a business for you?
No, not at all. This is strictly a hobby for me. It appears that after you've spent so much time within the field that people put on labels on you that not necessarily you want, but you have to accept. I think after my first publication came out, and I started writing magazine articles, and they start putting more credibility in what you say. Yeah, it's not something I think that anybody plans on. But I started very humbly. I cut school one day. I was about 10 years old, and there was a hometown reunion for astronaut Wally Schirra. And I hitched a ride into the town that was having a little parade, a little 60th type parade. And I stood in line while he was during a reception line and had him sign something for me. And since then I started saving them and collecting them and trading and that type of thing until, I
What signature do you have?
not really much. Wally Shiraz is maybe a $20 signature.
But it was enough to get you.
Yeah, it's enough to get me started, yeah.
You have a bunch of stuff that you wrote.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you have one from the Czech.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting. This is one of Thomas Edison's company checks.
If you hold that up to this camera.
The interesting thing about this is that during the time they were tearing down the old Edison Botanical Laboratories in New Jersey, a construction worker just took a box of these. They were destroying everything else. And he brought them to one of the shows, early shows in New York at that time. This was 20 years ago. And was selling them at $2 a piece.
Selling these checks?
Yes. Right. So for $2 a piece at that time it was quite a bargain. And I thought it was an interesting item. And it's turned out that its cash value has gone up considerably since then.
Well, it's from 1928. So the guy was selling it for $2.
Right.
Now you have one. And lots of other people have.
Oh, sure.
There are lots of these.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But rarely do they come to market. That's the kind of thing you have to look out for. Even though there's a few of them out there people don't want to part with. So.
This is a lot of money back in 1928, $183.
Well, maybe not for him.
Now you have some other photographs.
Sure.
Some other signed photographs.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put the camera on some of those and let's take a look-see. Like you have, what was it, Clark Gable?
That's Clark Gable. That was done by an artist by the name of Ira Rosen, who used to do all of the caricatures in the Brown Derby. And this is one of the ones that he had done that's signed by Clark Gable. So it's an interesting item. It's a one-of-a-kind item, I like to say.
Well, how did you get that?
I got that through the gentleman that actually drew it. He was looking to liquidate some of his items, and he had quite a few. And it's got to be 15, 16 years ago that he offered me that, and I bought it from him. But it's a beautiful piece.
Is that up for sale?
No, that's part of my private collection.
I see, but you'll have it at the show.
Oh yeah, we do display items as well. It's not just selling, we do display them, just for people's information so they'll know.
So, as an example, when you're at the show and say you walk around, are you a buyer?
Yeah, depending on the items. There are a few items that I always look for. I've been looking for a good, W.C. Fields used to write tremendously funny letters. He'd have a letterhead that was actually inscribed upside down. So if you looked at his letterhead, you thought that it was a misprint, but he used to do that just to rattle people. I've been looking for good content, W.C. Fields letters.
Well, let's see, you have a couple of other pictures up there.
That's Ron and Nancy. I rather like that because if you compare it, they're very tough to get. It's an interesting thing that Ronald Reagan is probably one of the most autographed personalities of the 20th century. He had a very long film career. He had a long political career. So you would think that his autographs are not all that desirable, and yet they're very desirable. It's worth more now than George Bush's. It's an odd thing, but he's very popular. Still retains his popularity. The interesting thing is now that that really aren't worth anything.
Well, during the next break, during the next session, we're going to show one of the facsimiles.
Sure, great.
You can tell us how we get facsimiles,
Terrific.
What they're worth and such. George Bush, you say that's not worth as much as Ronald Reagan.
Correct, but it doesn't.
Maybe later on.
It depends, I guess, how you figure in history.
Yeah,
really.
Right now we have to take a break, and we come back, we'll talk about history, Ronald Reagan, Nancy, whatever.